Hey everybody, welcome back. We're going to tie Chris Stewart's Keeper Kebari, which is based on the Oni Kabari. So we're going to start with the basics of the Oni Kabari just to get an idea of that. Large hook, so in this case a size 6. He goes up from there, but 6 is definitely in the wheelhouse. And it ties on the silk, hen pheasant Sakasa style. We're going to tie it in by the tip and tip back towards the bend. So you want it to, the shiny side to face you, cup away from you, or cupping down. Tie in that tip, remove that tip. Now he would go back and he would form the bend here. My friend Jonathan, who just did the Oni school, said sometimes he just does a bare hook. So this could be an Oni Kabari here. We're going to double the feather, fold it forward, and we're going to wrap back and touching turns to the waiting thread, and use your fingers to help kind of keep all the feather fibers forward as best you can. And these are usually pretty heavily hackled. The bodies are usually very, very sparse. Does peacock curls, synthetic peacock. I've seen yellow antron yarn. And then he cords up the thread and he weaves it through the hackle back to the front. Of course, he's finished the body already, and then whip finishes up there. So that's the basic kind of concept and tying method for the Oni Kabari. Now, Chris Stewart loved this idea, but was a little hesitant on going super big. So he tended to go a little bit smaller. To do a size 8, and he likes the Daiichi nymph hooks, the longer shank, but does a little bit different tying method. So start your thread at the eye and wrap back about 10 times, and you can come forward and back and make a little bit of a head there. You're going to take the hen pheasant feather and you measure it so that you have just enough fibers on it to be the length of the hook shank. That, when you wrap it, will get you to bare stem. You tie tip forward over the eye, dull side of the feather facing you. Continue making that head. Then you bend the feather forward and give a couple of tight wraps, 3 or 4 right behind it to stand up that hackle. And then we're going to fold the fibers forward. And like Oni, we're going to wrap in touching turns back towards the waiting thread. You can put your hand there. And if you measured it correctly, when you get finished with fibers and get to bare stem, you're done. And just tie off there, and it keeps it a little bit cleaner. I messed up and got a few caught facing back, and I'll clip those off right now. This is going to be a yarn body, and it's going to be secured with some copper wire. So we're going to tie in the copper wire now. He ties the copper wire in with the excess wire forward. Just tie in a little bit. Now when you're wrapping here, you're going back towards the bend. You're not interfering with the hackle. That natural cupping is what you want. You don't want to have the thread interfere with it or force it forward whatsoever. Chris recommends coiling up the copper there in the front just to get out of your way. The yarn he uses is Shetland Oxford, and you start it in that space just like you would tying thread. About halfway back, cut the tag. Now notice when I started it, I was careful not to compress the hackle, but be right next to it. So you wrap back to the bend and forward, and then back to the bend, and you're going to tie off. As you pull tight on the yarn, it compresses it, and as you soften up that pull, it makes it thicker. So use that to your advantage to make the taper, knowing that. So hold it tighter as you get towards the bend, looser as you get up towards the hackle. And so again, tie it off at the bend there. We're going to free up the copper and counter wrap it. You're going to be left, you want to have a thread tag at the end. So here I'm using black, but if you did want a particular color, you could use a different color thread too. We're going to tie off the copper wire here in the back and helicopter it off. And this is the Keeper Kebari. I'm going to do the whip finish here at the bend, again to finish up that thread tag. The whip finish cuts out here. My camera shut off before I finished. And then just a little head cement to, that area is kind of exposed to fish a lot and fish teeth. So that's the keeper next to an Oni I did with a synthetic peacock. Here's an Oni with yellow dubbing. Have fun with it. Thanks. Bye.